The screens are out. We'll see if any of this live stream stuff even works.
That's all right. Zegura's not here. The show's not really happening.
I would argue that it does happen with you. Maybe
barely.
Not with him.
Barely. I got to tell you, I had a great moment of clarity this morning. I think I've said on the program before, last year in part of the backyard project from hell that eventually is, now it's like 98% complete. Part of that project was a pool. I didn't particularly want one, but was, as is case with many things, I don't win often. And so we put one in, and it's fine and it's great. And my general rule of thumb on it is it's wonderful when you're in it, and all the rest of the time it sucks. That's kind of what it is. That's what it's been to this point.
It's like the people that own that. You want to be friends with people who own the boat. You don't want to own the boat.
Absolutely. Except for the instances when you're on the boat or in the pool.
Yeah.
And then you love it. And then it actually sucks if you're like, if you see like little kids in the neighborhood and they're like, boy, it's 86 degrees. I'd love to come jump in the pool. And I'm like, well, it's not a community pool. You can have everybody in all the time, the liability, all that, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, this morning, one of the many issues that you have when you have one of these is diminishing water line. Okay? So you're going to lose some inches of water over the course because kids get in and out. Like every time I see a little kid if I say Bootsy, get out and do a cannonball, it's 62% pure joy, and the rest, there goes all the water. So we're on a well, so I can't just put that water back in it. Right? I can't put that water in it because that's got an iron level of the stuff that's coming out of the spigots. Long story, you understand. So I have to buy the water every time we fill it. That's where I'm at. I got to buy more water. They haul it out, blah, blah, blah. So this morning I had this idea. We have an auto cover on the pool. I have one of those pumps that pumps the water when it rains off of the thing and into the woods. This morning, as it's pouring, 7 a.m., and apparently we lose electricity, whatever happened here. We did not lose electricity on our side. I thought, you know what? What if I pump that water right back into the pool?
How are you getting it from?
There's this electric pump that pumps it through a hose, and normally I just put the hose in the woods. I just redirected the water right back into the pool.
Dirty water, clean water?
Rainwater. Took the auto cover half off. Bunch of water sitting there, so now it's raining in the pool, and hose right back in.
Full pool?
Well, we picked up a half inch.
It's
a lot of rain.
Quite a bit, especially last night.
We're down about 3 inches, I think, just on Bootsy, but we got a half inch back today. That was my morning. So,
how many times a summer do you have to put water back in?
It's a good question, Gibby. We have not been through a summer yet.
So
I don't know. I'll tell you this. There's a level that it was at on full, and we went above because we obviously knew that this would happen, and we're down probably, 3 inches. What is it, middle of June 7th? In a little over a month of use, we're down 3 inches. So for sure I'm going to have to put some in it, but unless this plan of mine works, and I just strategically every time it pours.
But the problem becomes when it pours, you're not exactly living your best life.
No.
The more it rains, then we have another problem.
It's an astute point out of you. So that led
to
– so it's 7 in the morning. Next level's next. 7 in the morning. I'm soaked, standing out there, watching my – work here to make sure everything's going okay. Because the other thing you got to keep an eye on is now the wind can't pick up because I don't want limbs and all that stuff going on. But it wasn't. It was just a straight down rain this morning. So for today I think I won a little bit.
Baby
Look
steps.
At that guy.
Baby steps.
Bellin, what a legend. He's got packages. Packages right there. He's got packages.
Is that arm sleeve?
No, Mellon. Zegura's nemesis.
I mean, he's friends. I'm friends with him.
All the important people are here today. Nick's here running around. I haven't seen Swag yet.
Oh, I've seen him numerous times.
He's here?
Yeah.
How'd he play yesterday at the golf outing?
I think he said they finished 7 under.
That had to be close to good enough to win.
Wrong.
Really?
Which leads me to go, is there some shenanigans?
Like Zegura's
The winning
buddy.
group was at 12 under.
12 under.
You're out of
60.
It's a chance.
What was the format? Was it straight? Was it best ball scramble? Or is it
I
like
don't know
6
because,
holes this way, 6 holes this?
Like, if you didn't have a fifth guy like that one group, if you didn't have a celeb playing with you for 9 holes, or a player or an alum, I feel like you should get some extra shots in there at some point. And I don't know if that was allowed or not. And I don't know what the format changed when everybody left after 9 holes.
So did Zegura end up finishing up? Was he on the winning team? Probably.
I don't think he was on the
he
winning team.
paratrooped in with his skill set.
I mean, they might have been too far back.
Yeah, you had a lot to make up.
That's a good score. 12 under is that borderline.
It's a 60.
You go any lower than that, you could be accused of sandbagging.
Well, and you've played in a lot more of these than me, but you need to have, in order for that to happen, you have to have one stick. You got to have one like 2-3 handicap. You need to have 2, like the kid, guys who are 12 but are capable of playing to 6s. You need to have 2 of those guys, and then you need to have a high handicapper, but one like somebody who's a max, but who can hit 4 shots. That's really your makeup that you need in order for you to score to get a 60.
Yeah, I mean, there were a couple groups that were impressive that came through even after the show ended. But I thought everybody for the most part was around that 5 or 6 under mark. So I feel like there were a lot of teams that maybe even got to that 7 under mark. But I don't know. It's competitive. It was competitive yesterday, and I think the wind played a big factor in it being competitive.
It was pretty gusty.
Ended up being a beautiful day. The rain held off until I think Zegura was giving his awards and the auction part of things, and I think that was inside, but I think otherwise they got the golfing with no rain, except for that quick little shower at 12:30 right when they teed off.
Yeah, it wasn't a big deal. It was little. It was just a little. By the way, still dealing with the allergies. It's amazing how it won't quit.
After the rain, it should have gone away.
So today feels better, but yesterday afternoon, burning eyes. It's crazy. I've never had it this bad. I don't know what's going on, but it's not good. So the other thing, we were having a little bit of fun, and I felt bad when I left. We had a little fun on the show at the expense of the polos that were issued to you and I were wearing. And rest assured, they were absurd. Anybody who could wear them would acknowledge that. But I at one point said, let's open this pro shop here, and I'll go buy a shirt. Like, let's get it moving. You got free money. I'm giving you money. So apparently, and God bless all of you who are members of the Westwood Country Club who listen. Thank you. We appreciate that. It wasn't so much a complaint about the fact that the pro shop was locked as it was a complaint about the shirt and making fun of the shirt. So John Seco, who's the pro out there, director of golf, heck of a nice guy, he came over and apparently was being bothered. Not bothered, but was being asked a lot. Open the shop, get the guy let's get a polo working here. Let's get it sorted out. So it wasn't meant as a complaint for John or his shop.
No. All of a sudden, John became enveloped
in
the thick of it.
He became the target. And that was not the intent.
No,
the intent
not at all.
was the absurdity of the polos that we were in. Truth be told, had it been open, I would have bought one in that moment. But by the time that it all came to fruition, we're an hour and a half into the show. I've made it this far. I don't need to go any farther. The bigger complaint, even more than the collar, was the lack of breathability on it. A lot of those shirts nowadays are made out of recycled plastic water bottles, which is wonderful. This one actually felt like it wasn't even made out of a recycled plastic water bottle, but rather they just took the water bottle and made a shirt out of it. Like there was no breathability.
It was very heavy.
Yeah, it was a thick, heavy shirt. Renee was not wearing that shirt.
No.
It was a variation.
Renee says she's going to work on it.
Yeah, she told me. Yeah, she said.
And if anybody can knock it out, it would be Renee.
She's on it. Yeah, she's absolutely on it. So that's the way that's going to work out.
Yeah. Jonathan L. tweets at the show.
Okay.
Make sure you check the pH level of your pool water. The rain usually lowers it because of acidity.
Oh, I know. Now, to be fair, and I appreciate him for this, I believe in this. This is part of my ethos as a human. A man's got to know his limitations. Okay? So I am not doing. I got a guy that does that for me. I'm not doing chemicals.
Smart.
I'm not doing chemicals. I don't know what I'm doing.
I had to do chemicals.
Yeah.
I had an above-ground pool. Went up Memorial Day, came down Labor Day.
And how did you do on the chemicals?
It sucked. I made my wife do it. I said, look, I will get in the pool. Yeah. I will do all the cleaning on the inside of the pool, and I'll take care of that, and I'll clean the filters and all that. The whole chemistry was not a strong subject for me.
Same.
And she knew how to do it, and she'd been doing it because she'd owned a pool long before I met her. So she took care of that, and I was more than happy to get in if we forgot to put the cover on and there was debris in from storms. Fine, whatever. I'll get in the pool.
Right.
I'm in the pool. It's summer.
Yeah, it's a win. Yeah. Yeah, I don't do the chemicals, but he's right on that.
Yeah.
You got to get that sorted out.
Could be a factor.
Yeah, going to have to pour some sort of chemical in there. Yesterday, was this after we were done?
No, this happened before we even started the show.
We just had so much fun with nonsense that we didn't even really talk about it.
We need a golf outing every week. I feel
well, what we need is the CBD golf outing, because that would be a bonanza.
I don't even know.
That would be a bonanza if we did that. If we could find a charitable something that would make a lot of sense. Browns Give Back, something like that, some sort of charity. You've done how many golf tournaments have you organized in your life? More than you can count.
Yes.
Yeah. So
correct.
I feel like we could do this quite easily, make a lot of money, and have a blast. But yeah, so we were having so much fun with all of the nonsense that we actually had news yesterday that we missed.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was funny because we were having so much fun at the end of the show that we didn't know the end of the show had arrived. God bless. You
jumped in and the exact quote was, guys, it's 2:53 and we missed a break and we're out of time.
We need to wrap now.
That's it.
We have to go. Madison Hayes,
God bless her.
Our board op extraordinaire and producer back at the 850 ESPN Cleveland Ranch. I needed to make sure I reached out to all of her bosses. I said, hey, it was not her. This is all me.
We blew it, boy.
I lost I have never, ever lost track of time like I did yesterday. But it was like a waterfall. Just kind of.
It was just so much fun.
Everybody descended on us. Wyatt Teller almost drilled us.
He did.
Chase is there talking about cold showers. I mean, we went totally off the rails in a good way.
There were so many people who were on. I lost track. I forgot. Like we had JOK on for a good amount of time. But we had
about
Wyatt.
15 minutes.
We had Charlie Hewlett. We had, obviously, we had Coach right away, right at the top. We had Chase on.
Yeah. Maybe if there hadn't been a 35-minute delay between one group and the next in hour one, we might have had a few others.
You could have. I mean, it was great. So, and this isn't in the sense of giant breaking news, but I think it is really cool. So next week is mandatory mini camp, and we are taking the show on the road. And by we are taking the show on the road, are we taking the show on the road too?
Good potential that we could be.
So
yes.
We know that the actual show that y'all care about, the football team, it's going on the road. So it'll be here at the Cross Country Mortgage Campus next week at this time. And then first Friday we'll be down in Canton at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So the team is going down there on next Wednesday, and then Thursday we'll be at First Energy Stadium. So we're going to go on the road for the team is going to go for 3 practices off campus, 2 of them off campus, 1 of them on campus next week. So
Tuesday will be a full-on workout. I think guys report on Monday.
Okay. Is all this open? Any of it open?
Not to the public, no.
No, media.
Every day.
Every day is open to media.
Every day is open for us. Tuesday will be a full-on it will be a 2-hour practice. And they'll get after it a little bit. Wednesday is it might only be like 45 minutes because they want the focus to be the Football Hall of Fame, which I can appreciate because having been here now and covered this team and then worked for this team, there are a lot of coaches that they themselves don't understand the history and what it means.
Oh, God.
And the people that have come before you.
We've always had a membership. Since we moved up here, we've always had a membership there with the boys. We go at least once a year, oftentimes 2. When they were really little, they'd want to go like every other month. most of the time just to buy gear is what ended up happening and play on the football field. They did all of those things. But even it was so cool to go there with them. And one of the things you can do in the Hall of Bus is they have these really cool interactive displays, these giant TVs that are touchscreen. So you can touch and search by college, or you can search by name, or you can search by position, you can search by team. So you search by team and you hit that icon, and then the list that drops is extraordinary, especially considering there hasn't been one in a long time, right? So we'll have Hoff next year, right? Hoff is next year.
I think so.
Next year or the year after, the Hoff will go in. But we haven't had one in a long time. So, but the amount that came in a short period of time is extraordinary. Like, I think there aren't many that have more. There aren't many franchises that have more. The Bears do for sure. There's a couple, but not too many have more than the Browns do. So I think that's incredibly valuable. I think that place is awesome. I love it.
Well, and they're going to practice at Tom Benson Stadium. They'll practice this. They'll get a little stadium work on some turf, and then spend the afternoon touring the facility. And I think there's going to be a few speakers that will come in as well. And they have a full day planned with them. And then Thursday.
Real quick, when was the last time you were down there?
I would say it's probably been 5 years.
Okay. So I hadn't been there in probably a little over a year, and we were down there a couple of weeks ago for lacrosse. When we played they had a big tournament out there on the fields, the new fields behind. It was awesome. Really well-run tournament. But the construction is stunning around the facility, around the Pro Football Hall of Fame, in terms of everything that's been built and is being built. The other thing that's really cool for the kids, so Marion Motley is from Canton, okay? So the McKinley Fieldhouse is brand new, and it connects to Benson Stadium down there. And so they built like almost a museum for Marion Motley in front of it. And they have like all the great McKinley players like Doss and all those guys are in there too. It's awesome.
Really?
Awesome.
I mean, they're building a whole village, aren't they? Isn't the big picture at the end of the day?
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know how it's going to take a lot of subsidy from the NFL, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's a special place.
I've always said you don't need to play the Ohio High School State Championships for football down in Columbus at Ohio State, where you're going to get 15, 20,000, maybe 25,000 in a 100,000 seat stadium. Put it at Tom Benson.
It's perfect.
Let the high schoolers and their parents, those kids need to understand whose shadow they're in as they get ready to take the field.
I agree. Yeah, it's great for that. And then Thursday will be at First Energy. What's the plan for Thursday?
So from all indications, it's going to be a full practice. Now, normally Thursday's like the last day of school. As you're well aware, no education.
I've had 2 weeks worth of the last day of school.
Yeah,
they're still in.
When is your last day, by the way?
Tomorrow. Today was movie and, I don't know, some other nonsense day.
Pajama day?
Sure.
You can go in your pajamas,
We've had 6
watch
pajama
a movie.
days, 3 field days, a carnival day. It's babysitting. That's it. It's a daycare. It's not the people's fault. I mean, they did some construction, so I think we had a short school year last year, so this is making up for it.
We had that a couple of years ago.
They had that right here,
school.
right, too? Didn't Berea had that?
Berea did that. Olmsted Falls had
yeah.
that same problem. Well, when we added on to our high school, we got to start late the 1 year, and then we had to go.
You pay the price
extra long on the back end.
Yeah.
But from basically one of the things they want to accomplish is getting that team on the field there, because there are a number of events that are coming to First Energy Stadium between mid-June and when we get into August, and they may not be able to get on that field if they have to. I believe we're doing Monster Jam at First Energy Stadium like July 2nd.
Is that like the monster trucks?
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
So, I mean, you're not going to have a field on. You're not going to have anything for that.
No.
And there's a couple concerts. There's a couple other things going on. So I think they wanted to get out on the grass and get a workout in, at the stadium conditions, the newcomers, let everybody get a chance to see how it'll work. But normally Thursday, 30 minutes in, you have a defensive or offensive lineman kicking a 20-yard field goal to get you off to summer vacation.
Right, but now they're really gonna do it.
Yeah, it sounds like there will be a full practice. So the easier of the days will be on Wednesday, but Tuesday and Thursday will be full-blown practices.
Okay, all right. Well, there you go. That's the way that this. And what time are these things? Are they not that
late morning?
Not that the fans late morning. Okay.
Yeah, we'll continue to probably be in that 10:30 to 12:30 window.
Okay. All right. Very good. So that's what will happen over the course of next week. The man responsible for all of this is Kevin Stefanski. You will hear from him coming up next. We're off and running here. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. My friends, the Bath Authority can give you that bathroom of your dreams, and they can do it for you in about a day's worth of work. You can transform that current bathroom you have into a custom bath, a spa-like situation. It's a win for everybody. Let the Bath Authority make it a reality for you at a fraction of the cost of the competitors. The Bath Authority, Cleveland's premier bath and shower remodeler. They are experts. They are factory trained. They are ready to install for you. Simply put, it's where affordability meets quality. They have the largest selection of bath projects, every one of them made in the United States of A. Change your bathroom from outdated to outstanding. If you want to do a tub to shower conversion, they're your guys. Superior products with expert installers. Give them a call now for $500 off your next custom bath or shower remodel. That number is 216-220-8399 or go to thebathauthority.com. Again, $500 off your next custom bath or shower remodel at 216-220-8399 or thebathauthority.com for more. Now here is Coach from yesterday's meeting with the media at the golf outing.
Okay, good to see everybody. Thanks for coming out. Obviously a real
event
for our organization. The support that this event will give to Browns Foundation and what that means giving back to our community is really, really important to our ownership group. It's really important to me and Andrew Berry and our players. So they're excited about being out here. We had a good practice this morning, so we moved the schedule up a bit, but really got a good hour's worth of out there on the field.
This is 11 and a half.
It's really hard and continue to get better. I think that's really been our focus this entire offseason. So a really good start to the day, and then hopefully have some fun out here and raise some money for some really, really good causes. And with that, I'll take any questions.
So do you have 4 practices this week?
We do.
Okay. And then next week, can you tell us what your plans are with Baker? Will he be excused, or do you expect him to be here?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into that, Tony, but I will tell you for mini camp, really looking forward to that. So that's the mandatory piece of this, and we've had really good attendance with guys coming in and getting some work done. So we'll have a really good day's work on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we're going to go down to the Hall of Fame as a team and practice down there and visit down there, which I think is so vitally important that we understand what's come before us, the players, the coaches, the great teams that have come before us, and we're so fortunate to have the Pro Football Hall of Fame right down the road. So we're going to take advantage of that on Wednesday. Then we'll finish the off-season program that is on Thursday down at the stadium. We'll have a practice down there.
Will you be in the stadium in Canton or the fields behind the Hall of Fame?
You know, I don't know the answer to that, Zach. I'm not sure.
Just in general, 2 weeks left, 2 weeks in, are you about on schedule with what you wanted to get accomplished?
Yes, I'd say we're on schedule. I think there's so much room to grow. I think there's so many more things that we can do, but having said that, all these reps are really, really good. Even the ones that you don't love as a player. You know, Deshaun doesn't love throwing an interception, but you learn from it. You make a mental error maybe as a defensive back, and you're not going to make that same mistake again. So I think we've come a long way with room to go, but I'm not going to discount how important it is to grow as a team and come together as a team, and I think the guys have done an outstanding job at that.
Can you give us an update on Jack Conklin, how he's coming along from after the surgery and all?
Yeah, Jeff, he's doing a nice job. He's looking really strong in the weight room. He's doing a nice job in the meeting room, so I'd say he's on schedule.
Hey, with all due respect, can you say whether the club will announce prior to minicamp what the future for Baker?
Yeah, I think with that whole, with all of that, Tony, this whole offseason, we've been pretty consistent that we'll take it day by day. So if there's something to update, we will.
Why practice at the stadium?
Yeah, I want to get down there with the team. I want to get all of our players working in the stadium. I want to get our young kicker working in the stadium in the off season. So I just think it's a good spot to end camp. Also from a communication standpoint, we can work together as coaches and split the team up and really put ourselves through some situational football.
Kevin, how much is the continuity on the coaching staff, especially at the coordinator level, helped you guys kind of get ahead, with this offseason?
Yeah, I think continuity is good. Obviously, if you win, you'll have guys that are leaving to get other jobs and promotions, and that's okay too. Ultimately, that's our coaches want to continue to grow, but in the meantime, when we're working together, I think it's really beneficial to have a history together, and I can speak to moments in games when you have to make adjustments, and you can go back to your library of games together, and you can say, well, remember, that's the pressure we got, week whatever versus this opponent. And similarly, the defensive staff, Joe and those guys, can work together and say, all right, we're getting this run, they're copying this play from a few weeks back, now we can work together to try and get it stopped. So I think continuity promotes communication among your staff.
Is Deshaun here today?
Yes.
Just from a, community standpoint, considering everything that's swirling around him, could you just touch on, getting him out here at an event like this where you're raising money for charity and getting him some community work? Yeah,
I think Deshaun, but really all of our players, Daryl, really understand how important it is to get into the community and give back. That's something that's really important to our players. We talked about it this morning. So I think all of our guys being out here just today, obviously, but then moving forward, we've had guys doing visits all spring into schools. We'll continue to do that. So I think it's a big part of who we are.
Kevin Dearness got his contract done over the weekend. I mean, how valuable has he been, especially as you guys dealt with those injuries last year, just to have him around?
Yeah, I think, we've talked about Dearness a lot over the last couple years, especially last year with some of the injuries like you mentioned. He's a very dependable player. He's going to give you everything he has. He's going to be where he's supposed to be. He's a great teammate. The guys really want to fight for him when he's back there because he does everything that's asked of him, whether it's special teams or third down running back, you name it. So excited for Dearness, and again, really lucky to have a dependable player there at that position.
Off of that, Kevin, it seems to be a very crowded room. Drafted Ford, Felton's supposed to be in there more with Nick, and obviously Dearness. Just, is that exciting to have so many bodies, or is it going to be a tough decision?
Yeah, I think those type of things are really good problems to have. We want good players, and if we have a bunch of good players at one position, that's okay. That number one, it builds depth. Just talking about Dearness there with the amount of plays that he gave us last season, but it promotes competition. I just think it's our job to utilize those guys as we see fit.
And kind of going back, I know hindsight, but how big of a loss was it for Kareem? I mean, Dearness played well and stepped up, but just how big of a blow to the offense when you look back on it was losing Kareem?
Yeah, any of our players, you don't want to lose any of them. I think you guys know Kareem's a big part of what we do, and he brings a different style to the game, and he can make plays in the run and the pass game. So certainly don't want to have many games without him.
Kevin, with the attorney for the plaintiffs in Deshaun's case saying that the 24th suit is going to be filed, do you guys revisit any of that as an organization with Deshaun, or is that just old news to you guys?
I think, Nate, with that, we're trying to just be respectful of the process and let that take care of it.
Kevin, at this stage of the offseason, do you know right now how much different your offense will look than it has the last couple of years?
Hard to say. I think that we're working on a lot of things, Scott. We're trying things that maybe will make it to week one and maybe won't. So I think we're certainly in that mode as an offense of seeing what fits us. But that's just going to be over the course of time. So, what's the date? June 6th. I think on June 6th, I think we have a decent idea, but there's going to be a lot of time between now and September 11th to really hone in on the things that we want to do.
Is that something you do a lot between the end of minicamp and training camp, where you kind of narrow down maybe?
Yeah, I think we'll probably start that process going into next week because you're really out of your installation, if you will. So you kind of work with the quarterback, work with the coaches, work with some of the players and say, all right, what fits us with the quarterback, what fits your eye, those type of conversations, and then we can tailor our training camp installation schedule to the information that comes out next week.
With that, Kevin, would you want to know sooner than later if the NFL is going to suspend the Deshaun for some games, because doesn't that affect how you make these preparations?
Yeah, I think, Jeff, all along we're just going to take those type of things day by day, and when we have information, then we'll act on said information. But prior to that, we'll just kind of talk about how we envision things going and then be ready to adjust.
How do you feel about Miles taking the defense down to South Beach, and did they look more polished at your practice this morning? Or
Again, I wasn't invited to this one either, so I think it might be me. Yeah, I think it's a good, good for Deshaun, good for Miles to get the groups together outside of the building. Now, you don't have to jump on an airplane to do those type of things. So it could even be things that they do in and around the city and just sharing a meal together, I think, is team building. So those are the type of things that our guys are doing a nice job at.
Your first summer here, with everything that was going around socially, you said, hey, I want my guys not to be afraid to get in the arena and get involved. Most recently, Miles has become very, very out front in speaking against the gun violence around the country. And I'm sure as a father, that's something that certainly concerns you. Just, I guess as a coach, how proud are you to see your players take that message from you when you first walked in the door and really run with it in a positive way?
Well, I think, and today's a great example of the money we're raising today, is going to the foundation, which affects social justice. I mean, we're going to help black-owned businesses. We're going to help with economic mobility and the programs that work to make things better. And I think, it should be a concern not to me. It should be a concern to everybody, whether you have kids or not. It should just be a concern. And there's way more eloquent people than me to talk about it. But I'd say I'm just like all of our citizens that are concerned.
What's the state of your golf game?
Ooh, bad. I just write down bad, B-A-D. I don't play. I'm working too hard, Tony. I'm working too hard.
Is that why you went to Memorial this weekend, to get a start on this event?
I'm good at watching golf, not good at playing.
What are some of the areas that you've seen Donovan Peoples-Jones grow in, maybe even this offseason, and what do you kind of expect?
Yeah, even today, he had a real nice play today. He just continues to, really since the day we got him, as you guys know, we've talked about how dependable he is, and he does what he's supposed to do, and he's where he's supposed to be. But I do see his game growing. I think his body control, catching the ball and contested catches has never been tough for him. That's just one of the traits that he has. But in and out of breaks, some of the things we're asking him to do.
30 seconds.
Different than he's done in the past, and he's done a great job. And I think the quarterbacks like throwing to him, and I think that's important as well.
Another guy, Wyatt Teller.
Last one here.
He had some Pro Bowl and All-Pro recognition last year. What's the next step for him? What do you want to see him do to even take it up to the next level?
Yeah, I think continue to work, and I think Coach Callahan, Coach Peters have sat down with Wyatt, like all of our coaches have, and identified areas of his game that can grow, and there's areas that he can get better at, and he knows them, and it's just a matter of working at them. It's not something that you can just snap your fingers and it happens. So he's working really hard in drills, individual periods, those type of things, because I do think there's room for growth with Wyatt.
You're up.
All right, good stuff from Coach yesterday at the golf outing out at Westwood. Coming up next, we will go around the league. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. lot of bad advice out there about gambling, from secret methods to picking lottery numbers to betting big when you're on a roll. The miss can lose you money and get you in a lot of trouble. So before you wager, find out what's real and what isn't at keepitfunohio.com. I see item 3 on this around the league in the sports world, Gibby. You have the Bears lose an OTA for an on-field contact violation. So this goes to a bigger picture thing, because you think about year 2 with Justin Fields, former Ohio State standout, and him just being put in the worst possible position to win. Warren Sharp of Sharp Football, who we've had the show before, tweeting this 2 minutes ago. Still can't believe Matt Nagy wasn't thrown in prison at halftime for this game plan in Justin Fields' first start. That was that one here. That's the one I took the boys to that game. I thought, do you want him hurt? 110. It was an absurd. He was running for his life. It was like, okay, you want us to play him? Watch me end his career in one game. The kid had no chance. None. And they put nobody around him. I mean, I think they're honestly to the point of, like, you're almost to the point of, like, trading him now preemptively. No. I have no idea but they don't have first round pick next year, I don't think either, because then they give up a couple of them to get Fields. I'm pretty sure they gave up ones to get him, so he's stuck, man. He is absolutely stuck. Yeah, it's pretty wild, and no, it is absolutely ridiculous, the position he's in, and so. Now they get one back, but they gave up one to get him. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of good receivers in the draft. They can maybe draft Jackson Smith and Jigba out of Ohio State and pair him with him, but that's provided Fields isn't wrecked. Sure. Yeah. No, it'll be more of a quarterback draft with Stroud and Bryce Young. But no, Jackson Smith and Jigba he'll be the first one, the kid at Ohio State. He'll be the first receiver off the board, so they'll be picking high enough. Maybe they can get him a little help there. Shout out to former Browns head coach Romeo Cornell. He retired from the NFL yesterday. 39 years head coaching since in Cleveland, Kansas City, and, of course, with the Texans on an interim basis. Were you doing the network at that time when Romeo was around? Were you in the – That's the Derek Anderson, Braylon Edwards, Kellen Winslow, Jamal Lewis run, right? Yeah, where it came out of nowhere, and yeah, right, yeah. That. Well, they weren't playing, right? Because they already had it wrapped up, and so they didn't play their guys. Yeah, that's right. And then the next year we opened with Dallas in the national game and got drilled. Braylon dropped that ball in the back of the end zone. It was a gorgeous day, but the Cowboys come in here and put it on us pretty big. Oh, it's weird. Yeah. Well, and the other thing is the wins. Yeah, and then for him got much worse after. But the that was also, that was Brady was a rookie that year, and Anderson kind of came out. Didn't we start with Charlie Fry? Is that how that season started in 2007? So you had Charlie Fry, Anderson was on the roster, and you drafted Brady Quinn. I remember I was down in Columbus at the CBS affiliate, and we had the preseason games, and I was up here to cover Brady's first preseason action. I was here covering it, and I remember Brady went like right down the field running 2 minutes and scored, and the place went nuts because Brady was the Ohio kid, the Notre Dame kid, and he was just drafted. But Fry started the year, and then Anderson came in right away, and then that was it, right? Do I have that right? Okay. Sure. After week 1. Right. Is that Carson Palmer in 07? Yeah. It's definitely Carson Palmer because I covered a couple of the Bengals camps. Jeez. Rudy Johnson, sure. Well, Ocho Cinco would have been there. Yeah, and Hushmanzada. Yeah. Well, but then you have this season unfolding, but you also had Brady was right behind, and everyone was clamoring to see Brady because you just picked him in the first round. Sure. Yeah, we were talking less about him, sadly. He was the sure thing. Yeah. It was a fun year. I ended up picking up a lot of those guys in fantasy. They just crushed a lot of fantasy guys. Yeah, I was at that game. Yep, I was at that game too. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it was fun. Mm-hmm. We got it. Well, and also in retrospect, when you look back at it, when you think of the figures that were involved, that season was not something that ought to have been maintained. It was a perfect storm that it all worked, that all of those personalities, all of those humans, because Braylon never had another year like that. Winslow never had another year like that. Anderson never had another year like that. That was Jamal Lewis's last great year. Like, all of that ended. That was all. Imagine me and Joe. That was year 1 for him.
Yeah.
That's year 1. You think, well, here, this is good. I got Brady Quinn waiting in the wings. Away we go. Didn't work out that way.
No, not at all.
Aaron Donald got paid, the first non-quarterback to make over $30 million a season, so he lapped the field a little bit here. T.J. Watt was at 28. He went to 31.5 on the annual season, so that he will now become the highest paid, and deservedly so. I don't know that you can say enough high praise of Aaron Donald and who he is. What did you make of the story as we go around the sports world? Did you see this Live Golf Tournament presser this morning, how awkward this was? By the way, Ari Fleischer, who was like Bush's guy, was running this thing. He was running the press conference. Like, it's the most awkward thing ever. At one point, they escort an AP reporter out for not asking fair questions. Like, I don't know if you can do that if you're the Saudis. Like, you probably can't do that. They did it anyway. There was nothing out of Dustin Johnson. I mean, he got him $150 million. The guy said there's nothing. He doesn't have anything of interest to say. At one point, they asked Graham McDowell about the Khashoggi stuff, and he's well, we're all against that, essentially, but the check's cash is what it amounts to. The big news, of course, is that Phil was joining, so that's not too much of a surprise. He's joining. The other thing that happened over the weekend was the story in the Washington Post on Greg Norman, where he says that they offered Tiger Woods high 9 figures to play in this tour. $900 million was the money to Tiger. Phil's getting $200 million to play in this thing. $200 million to play in this thing. It's insane.
I look at it and you go, if you can improve your life, your family's way of life, and your future grandkids and great grandkids' way of life, like, why do you not do it on a, compared to the tour that won't let you do anything? I mean,
it is. You have to be able to sleep at night with who you're cashing checks from.
Well, correct.
And so that's where the money comes from. Like, how big does it have to be to make you get over it? And for Dustin Johnson, it was 150. For Phil, it was 200. For Tiger, it wasn't 900, which is remarkable because he's worth a lot. He's probably worth that, but doubling your worth is something of pretty big value. We've heard nothing from the PGA Tour on this. Some of these guys, they were asking him, like, are you aware that you can't play the Ryder Cup if you're not a member of the PGA Tour? And they weren't aware of that you couldn't. Dustin Johnson seemed fine with it. He's like, if I'm planning on playing the majors. I have exemptions. If that changes, I'll deal with it. But, again, the check's cash for him.
Well, but I was thinking, it goes back to a conversation we had the other day. How many majors – isn't it just the U.S. Open that's run by the PGA?
No, it's not. It's run by the USGA. The PGA doesn't run any of the majors. They run the Players.
So you can be a part of
the
all
Tour
of them.
Championship. The only thing is if the PGA Tour leans on the majors, now you can't lean on Augusta. They're not going to have it.
No.
So they'll do whatever they want. You can't lean on the British Open. That's Royal and Ancient. They're not going to. They don't care. You have no jurisdiction there. I don't know if you can lead on the USGA. I don't know if you can lead on the PGA of America. But PGA of America is not even the PGA Tour. That's separate. So they don't run any of it.
Which doesn't make any sense.
They don't run any of it. So theoretically, they could. Dustin Johnson gave up his PGA Tour status. Mickelson did not. He says he hopes that he's able to keep it because he has a lifetime. We've heard nothing from the PGA on any of this.
And there were reports that Ricky Fowler was going.
Yeah, I think he is too. I'm sure that he is too. Well, I mean, he can't play anymore. He hasn't been good for a long time.
Didn't he? He didn't make the U.S. Open invite the other day. They had the U.S. Open.
The qualifiers? Didn't he have a chance to qualify and he didn't make it? Or did
he
had
a chance to qualify and couldn't qualify. On
yeah,
Monday.
His game's gone.
Yeah.
It's over. Yeah. So, I don't know. So you'll be able to watch this on YouTube, right? That's the only way you can consume this? I think that's it.
Sure.
It's not on a network.
It's messy. That part is messy. I don't really know. The first one's in London, though, right?
It is. It's Centurion Club in London, which I think I'll be interested to see what a different club looks like.
New course.
I think that's something the PGA Tour has failed at in recent years, where we get the same things over and over again. Be nice to see see golf at a different place. So we'll see. We've never had anything like this. For Phil Mickelson, it's $200 million as essentially as a retainer. Whether he wins or not.
Yeah.
And they have teams. Did you see the teams that they have?
I haven't seen the pairings or anything. But
well, no, the teams are named.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, they're terrible. It looks like creative franchise on Madden. You got to. What are some of these names? Oh, they're brutal. They did this morning. Oh my God, they're absolutely terrible. So there names of the captains of 12 teams for this event. All right, so Dustin Johnson's going to captain the 4 Aces. Kevin Na leads the Ironheads. Louis Oosthuizen the Stingers. Martin Keimer's the captain of the Cliques. Gray McDowell leads the Nibliks. And I have no idea if those are all FCC approved.
You heard the Mickelson one?
No, I didn't get to it.
The High Flyers.
High Flyers. Okay.
Sergio Garcia's
the
Fireballs.
Majestics for Ian Poulter. I mean, what are we doing? I don't know. We'll see. I think some of the stuff they're doing is good. It's just, can you get over, because there's been a long history of this. Like, the Saudis aren't the first one that have tried to use sports to scrub their image. We've seen the Russians do that with the Olympics. We've seen the Chinese do that with the Olympics. The Qatari people are doing that with the World Cup. So you use sports to kind of clean your image. But it's just a matter of will people continue to hold it against them? And I had somebody say to me this morning, they said, well, at what point are they going to be able to make money on this? I'm like, you're missing the point. They don't need to make money on this. They're making money on oil. They got all the money in the world. They don't need the money. They're doing this for the image. They're doing it for the PR is why they're doing it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I get a lot of respect for Tiger for turning down $900 million. That's a lot, brother.
A ridiculous amount
That's
of money.
A ridiculous
Not that
amount
he
of money.
needs it.
No, but still, like, if he's worth $900 million, they double it in one. He plays 8 events. That's it. Crazy.
By the way, Tiger obviously he announced today officially out for the U.S. Open, but working toward the Open Championship.
You could project that. There was no way the way he walked at the PGA that he was going to be able to walk a
Not
U.S.
the
Open.
U.S. Open.
No. And is this? It's at Brookline, isn't it? Back at the Country Club at Brookline this year. It's something like that. It's a traditional old East. It's a traditional old Eastern club. It's one on the East Coast.
Yeah,
I know that.
the Country Club
at Brookline, Mass.
Massachusetts.
Yeah, it's been a while since.
So it's going to be some walking.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's traditional Eastern prestige country club. So yeah, it'll have that absolutely. All right, coming up. Do we have Greg Newsome coming up next? Greg Newsome's
From the podium.
podium from yesterday coming
A
up
little
next.
bit of Zegura in the background.
Oh,
hustling
very
people.
excited. Oh, that's good. That's what he ought to be doing. We'll do that. Second hour coming up next. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Rumpke Waste Recycling, family owned and operated. Whether you join them as a customer or as an employee, you'll become part of the family. Visit Rumpke.com to learn more. I couldn't tell. Felt like I was half.
Really?
Yeah, felt like I was half.
Oh, no,
and then
I had you
went
up
all
the whole
way.
time.
Oh, it's raining again.
Yeah. Wow. Really raining.
Yeah.
It's supposed to rain hard for the next couple hours, and then I think we get a little reprieve tomorrow, rain back tomorrow night. I don't know. It's kind of a weird week weather-wise.
Seems like it. I mean, it's really raining now.
Yeah.
Pretty substantial. Gibbe, how much misery did John Elway cause you as a youth?
I have a name for him, but we're not allowed to talk about it on the radio.
Can't say that.
You know what? A better measuring stick is not me necessarily, so much as my father, who loves everyone.
Yeah.
And wants everybody just to get along and have a good time and live in harmony and whatnot. There were some 4-letter words that got invented when it came to John Elway.
Made them up.
I remember being at a regular season game. I think it was the year after one of the times he had eliminated us.
Yep.
And we beat them in overtime, and my father just screaming. Now we're not even we're in the second level of Old Municipal Stadium, and just blasting John Elway as he was walking off the field.
Well, this story then is for Mr. Gibbe. This is from the Action Network. So, on Monday, Forbes was the first to report that Walmart heir Rob Walton, the son of Sam, is set to buy the Denver Broncos. Sam, of course, not son of Sam, the serial killer, son of Sam Walton.
It's a good clarity on you, because I had a moment in my
different.
head.
Also, old references lost on young listeners. That he would be paying $4.5 billion for the team, billion with a B. This is not done yet. It would be an American record for team sales from a value standpoint. By the way, one that I don't think will be approached anytime soon because of how strong that brand is and everything you're getting with that brand at $4.5 billion. Here is what is going to make Mr. Gibbe very happy. In September of 1998, then Broncos owner Pat Bowlen, who was viewed by many as one of the class guys in the league, offered Elway, who had just led the Broncos to their first Super Bowl title, a 10% piece of the team. Okay? In 1998, for the money that they had owed him. So they owed him $21 million. Bowlen offered him 10% of the team. Okay? Bowlen sweetened the deal by offering another 10% of the team for $15 million. So Elway could have owned 20% of the team if he accepts this offer. He also made it seemingly impossible to refuse, saying he would buy the piece back for $5 million more plus 8% interest a year up to 5 years later. In other words, and then he gave Elway up to 10 months to decide before the option expired. So in other words, Elway would have had an ability to earn 20% of the Denver Broncos risk-free. Okay? Risk-free. Instead, in June of 1999, Elway passed. Thanks, but no thanks. I don't want percentage of the team.
Good.
I want my money.
Bum.
So he had $15 million instead of the 20% of the Denver flippin' Broncos.
What a
He
dummy.
gave the $15 million to Sean Mueller, a Denver hedge fund manager who a decade later was convicted after he took investors' money in a Ponzi scheme. He invested in a Mike Shanahan-backed laundromat franchise, a Hispanic media company, Que Pasa, and sports retailer MVP.com. All of quickly failed. Now, he did well. He did sell he had a John Elway car dealership he sold to AutoNation for $82 million. So he did well at this. He's done quite well. But had he taken the 20% ownership of the Denver Broncos that he could have gotten for $36 million, that money at the time of sale would have been $900 million. $900 million.
By the way, my phone is blowing up with my friends uttering 4-letter words at John Elway.
Well, they're going to win.
And by the way, it couldn't happen to a nicer a-hole.
Why is he that?
John Elway?
Is he a bad guy?
Oh, I don't care if he rescues puppies for a living. I don't
No,
wish
I
many
know, but
people
I
ill
don't know
will.
if he's a bad
he
guy.
He's at the
He's
top
a
of the
bad
list.
businessman, apparently, although he did good with the auto. But that's got to make Mr. Gibby and your friends feel happier that he could have been worth almost $1 billion.
It makes me happy that he has failed at the one job. Like, yes, he got Peyton Manning.
By the way, did you hear what Manning is doing with that? What Manning did?
No.
So there are still – this isn't done yet. There are 4 left, 4 bids that are still being considered. Walton feels like he's going to get it.
Yeah,
but there's
that's,
4
I
bids.
read Peter King thinks he's getting it too.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be Walton. And I think what the NFL likes about that is he's worth $60 billion, so it's not going to be hard for them to extract money out of him. So Peyton Manning, think this is what he's done. He has maintained relationships with all 4 of the operations that are bidding on the Broncos. All 4 want him to be part of minority ownership. My hunch is that he's so savvy with this that Manning is saying is going to basically get a percentage of ownership just for affiliation and pay nothing. And he's bid them all against each other. He hasn't upset anybody, so whoever wins, he will get he's going to have a percentage of ownership of the Broncos.
And if he can fire John Elway, that'd be even sweeter. That's amazing. I didn't know that he's
maintained with all 4, and so whoever gets it, if he wants, I don't know if he wants. My hunch is you'd take it, whatever percentage it would be, you'd take it. That he would get a small percentage of ownership and be a minority investor, and then be potentially face of the franchise. Who knows? I don't know if that would affect Manningcast and all the other things he's doing, but that's in play.
I feel like it could.
Sure,
but I mean, if you've got a small enough stake where you're basically living off of the you're living off of the tax of it.
Oh yeah, I mean who knows? And no one ever knows what he wants to be.
No,
or what his end game is. But he's smart enough to play them all against each other. Yeah, $900 million.
Good.
Pretty amazing.
Why wouldn't you take that deal? If you're Elway, why wouldn't you take that deal? Even if you took one part of that deal, and you said, "Hey, I want $10 million. Give me the rest, and then I'll take the rest in ownership."
I have no idea. I don't know. I guess who would have ever foreseen that these would be worth this at that time? I mean, Jerry Jones bought the Cowboys a decade earlier than Elway was offered this for $150 million.
Well,
so it's worth $6 billion. I mean, who knows? Or maybe 10.
That's what the one article I read. The Broncos are going to sell for almost double what the Panthers owner recently paid for the Carolina Panthers.
Well, so yeah, for what Tepper bought the Panthers for. Now I get that because Denver is that's a much better brand than the Carolina Panthers. And having grown up in that region, I realize it's 8% of the country in the Mountain Time Zone, but they own the entire 8%. Like the Rocky Mountain region is theirs. They have ownership of the whole region. So. And there's a lot of money in that region. So it's a big brand. The Broncos are a big brand out west. They are, for sure. Far bigger than the Panthers. But I was trying to think of, is there anything imminent that would reach this number that would usurp $4.5 billion? The only NBA team that would have a chance would be the Lakers. They're not selling them anytime soon. Baseball, the Yankees probably would usurp it. And then in the NFL, not everybody would. Certainly not everybody would. And, you're talking Cowboys, Giants, like those type of teams would be the ones that would go over $4.5 billion. Rams, but those are – they just moved. They're not going anywhere. Wild. Absolutely wild.
Did I see something, by the way, over the weekend about a Laker jersey?
I don't know.
Is there a new –
well, they have I know they always do that. Did you guys get into the Cavs, what they're doing with the soft gold and
a little
red?
bit, not a lot.
I'm curious to see what that looks like. I think they have one of the hardest branding histories in the history of sports because you could ask anybody, to me, when I think of the Cavs, I think of the LeBron first era, because that's when I first moved to Ohio, so I think of that era Cavs uniform. Most people my age, my wife's age, it's blue and orange.
Yes, the 80s blue and orange.
Absolutely, for sure. There's a faction of people who are older than us who go to the true wine and gold, Miracle at Richfield, those type of things. And then they've been kind of mustered in red the last few years. They won a championship in a black T-shirt. So it's a crazy thing. So we'll see what they do. It's tough. It's tough to land the plane on those rebrands and get those things right. All right, coming up next, we will get to the Greg Newsome availability from yesterday at the golf outing. That is coming up next. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Elk and Elk Serious Lawyers, serious injuries, call 1-800-ELK-OHIO for a free case review. Elk and Elk is a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. You have some news and notes floating around before we get to Greg Newsome?
Yeah, from the rap sheet, some interesting notes. Wide receiver DK Metcalf not present for mandatory minicamp. As contract talks have not yet resulted in a new deal, he continues to rehab his injury in L.A. Interesting, because you can get officially fined. Like, the team can waive it ultimately, but you can start getting fines now on these mandatory mini camps and some of that. National TV schedule for the preseason. The Browns not on any national TV preseason games. Fantastic. You can catch everything on News 5 with the Hoff.
Right here, the Hoff
and
will
company.
Be there.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't even know if we've announced anything else yet. I don't think we have. You have the Hall of Fame game.
By the way, did you read the story in the? We'll get to. Did you read the story in the Athletic about
Not
the Hoff's
yet.
recruiting? It's great.
Is it good?
It's great. Yeah.
What was the best part of it?
The best part of it was he grew up in Wisconsin and only been to a Wisconsin game once and really didn't have any particular love of Wisconsin football other than the fact that he was from Wisconsin, and then demanded that, like, not demanded, but that track was a big part of his recruitment because he was doing, I want to say it was the shot put, and like at the start of his junior year he threw it like 50 feet or something like that, and he was really disappointed, and by the end he threw it like 64 feet and broke like the state record or something crazy, like picked up 14 feet.
How do you just pick up 14
because he's the Hoff.
feet?
I mean, what are you going to do? He's the Hoff.
Yeah.
The genesis of this was Barry Alvarez, who's the athletic director at Wisconsin, was asked who was the best offensive lineman to play here without hesitation. He said Joe. And we can all say, well, of course.
And he played for Alvarez.
But they had a lot of good ones.
Yeah.
And he said this was the only position where I could say unequivocally that's who it was. So that's what led to the story.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was a good story.
National TV schedule, Thursday, August 4th, Hall of Fame game in Canton, NBC, Jacksonville, and the Raiders.
Jacksonville is in the Hall of Fame game?
Yeah, Baselli.
Oh.
That's why. Wondering if the Hoff goes in next year, maybe we're in that game.
What are we doing on this show if the Hoff? Well, if it's next year, I believe it is, and he will be first ballot.
I feel like
we got a
is.
lot going on. If we got to be down there for all of it.
I mean, we're gonna live.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what comes into play? RV.
Yeah, you might be right because
you can't get a hotel room.
No. Well, it's not that far from my house anyway. It's pretty close.
But like,
yeah,
we broadcast from an RV.
From an RV. Yeah. I wonder where the Hoff's party will be.
Boy, I don't know. There's
some
usually
big-time
3 or
clubs down
4
there.
major areas. You got to get them early.
Yeah. There's some big time country clubs down there.
Yeah.
Brookside down there. That's a big one.
There's also a winery.
Gervasi.
Yeah. Wasn't that where Tony Dungy no, it was Peyton Manning's.
Was it Gervasi?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, it doesn't make sense. It's crazy when you're driving in there. It doesn't make sense that it's there, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
Preseason Week 2, Thursday, August 18th, ESPN Bears Seahawks. Boy, not getting a whole lot better here on the preseason slate. Sunday, August 21st, Ravens Cardinals on Fox. That's a Sunday night game. ESPN with another game Monday night, Falcons at Jets. Well, so far we're 1 for 4. Preseason Week 3, Thursday night, little dress rehearsal for Prime Video. 49ers at Texans. And then CBS Sunday, August 28th, Lions at Squealers.
Okay.
Some
yeah,
really
you wonder,
bad preseason national games.
You know, here's the other thing that's tough with it is there's no real usually in the preseason you want to see rookie quarterbacks, and there's no rookie quarterbacks of any significance. I mean, Pickett is a first-round pick, but I don't think anybody thinks he's going to be good.
No. I mean, and frankly, week 1, you're not going to see Jags Raiders. You're going to see practice squad Jags Raiders.
I think it's a shame. I think the Hall of Fame deserves ones for a rep. You can play a rep without hurting anybody. Give them a series. If you play in the Hall of Fame game, your guys should play for a series. I think it's a joke to leave them all out. I think it's an absolute joke.
Yeah, I think you're disrespecting what
I agree. I think it's nonsense. You used to get a series. Give them a series. What's it hurt? Even if it's like the Pro Bowl.
I don't. Everybody's afraid of everything.
It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right. Good stuff there. All right, good stuff from Greg Newsome. He was available yesterday at the charity golf outing. Let's have a listen.
The off-season program.
You're down.
I got a lot. Just getting more comfortable in this game. Like I feel this season like I'm a lot more comfortable. Just being out there playing, I just feel a lot more better. So I think we got a lot out of this. Everyone's here, so we're able to get the unity back together and just grow as a team.
Did you go on the trip with the guys? Because Miles said last week some of the DBs didn't get the message or something.
It was a big miscommunication. But I think the DBs were planning on doing some of our own. Actually, last week I was at Devontae Smith's charity event in Philadelphia, so that's where I was at last week.
Get any hits?
Oh, of course. Yeah, of course.
Hey, Greg, we saw your comments about Odell and Baker. How big a distraction was that, and what kind of effect do you think that had on the team not being successful last year?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of a distraction, but like I said, at the end of the day, those off the field matters has nothing to do with us. Like, we have to find a way and do our job. So I don't think it really affected too much, because at the end of the day, you wouldn't be able to know that there was anything wrong within our locker room. Like, we all gelled, we all still perfectly fine with each other, so you wouldn't be able to tell from an outside perspective. We just still came in every single day, did our job, and that's what we're here to do, is play football. So we were able to do that.
When you say it was a distraction, what could you see in their relationship that made it a distraction?
I don't think I've seen a change in their relationship. Like I said, I think if you were to come in the locker room, you would think they're best friends still. And I think they're still really good friends. Obviously, some things on the field just didn't work out. That's how life is. Everyone's had friends where they don't agree on certain things, and that doesn't, separate their friendship or anything. They just didn't click the best on the field.
It's been a couple weeks since we talked to you. I guess getting more reps in the slot there, just how do you feel a few weeks later and how that's going?
Oh, I feel great in the slot. It's fun. Like I said, I'm around the ball a lot more. I like to say I'm a very smart player, so I'm able to control a lot of things out there now in the slot, so I'm definitely having fun at that.
Is it a big challenge, though, Greg, going from outside on, let's say, first or second down to in the slot on, passing situations?
Nah, I think it's, for me, honestly, I think it's a little bit easier because outside, you see I'm pressed up majority of the time. Inside, I get to play off a little bit more, trust my help a little bit more. I got immediate help right there, immediate help deep, so I think it's not that big of a challenge.
Even from one down to the next?
Yeah, no. Yep.
There's, you mentioned that from the outside looking in that you couldn't see anything, potentially going on behind the scenes. This offseason, there seems to be a concerted effort amongst, Miles taking defenders to South Beach, Deshaun taking the offense to Bahamas. There just seems to be within the locker room this organic focus on team chemistry and making sure guys are together, I should say. Is that kind of a result of last year and the disappointment that you guys had coming off a season where you were expected to do so much and you didn't live up to those expectations?
No, I wouldn't say that. Last year was also a COVID year, so some of those things that, Deshaun and Miles are doing, we weren't able to do that as much last year. Like, we had times where we got together as a team where Baker orchestrated some stuff together, but we had to do it in a closed environment due to it being COVID. So a lot of those things was a COVID issue, and we're a newer team, so we weren't able to gel as much. I don't think it has anything to do with having a new quarterback. I think it was just a COVID thing.
There's also a silent auction package.
Is Denzel kind of in charge of the DB's getaway? Or
for sure. Yeah. He's definitely in charge.
Hey, you got the extension, you got to organize this?
Yeah, I mean, it's not something like that he has to do, but, like I said, I feel like we're all brothers in that group, and that's something that he wants to do. So we'll definitely be planning something, I'm pretty sure, soon.
You don't know where yet?
Nah, not yet.
As you guys can see off to my left, one of the most impressive drones I've ever seen in my life.
Nah, I really been everywhere, honestly. So, I mean, if I had to choose, it's obviously a choice that's never going to happen. Like, I'd choose, like, Dubai or something. But we're not going to go to Dubai. We'll probably do something locally, Miami or, something like that. That's other people do.
Put that bad boy
hey, when
air.
Perion Winfrey got drafted, you mentioned your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Can you just kind of walk us through what your history is with them and what you think the Browns are getting?
Yeah, so with Perion, so we played at rival high schools, actually. We live maybe 10 minutes away from each other. And, I think he's going to bring a lot of energy to this team in the middle, especially. As you can see, like, he won the MVP in the Senior Bowl at defensive tackle, so that shows you the talent that he has, and he's going to provide a lot for this team.
Did you know about his energy?
Oh, for sure.
Back in high school?
He was like that his whole entire life. Yeah,
really?
For sure.
Favorite story from hanging out with him or anything?
We honestly didn't even really hang out too much, honestly. Like I said, we went to rival high schools. we weren't as close. We knew about each other, but as he went JUCO and things, I kept reaching out to him, just trying to keep him, lifted and things like that.
But now are you kind of
for sure. He's
transition?
He's with me every single day at this point. Yeah.
Greg, the defensive backfield hits
1 minute.
season, including yourself. I guess just this year having the core of that group be back, like how much?
All right, we're going to keep our morning program going in just a second before we get you guys out on the golf course. And
I think the amount of time that you spend with somebody, that's only going to increase your relationship in any type of relationship. So we're definitely more close. We know where each other is going to be at each time now. So I think we finished the season well last year. So we're looking to make the next step after this.
Right over there, you get skins for the whole team to get entered into that, and the mulligans $25 a person.
What advice
so you can get some mulligans in case you happen to hit an error
the same
shot.
process this year as you did last year.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say there's like one piece of advice I give him. I kind of just out there, he asks me questions, just give him some help. He knows I'm an open door policy. I help him. He's watching film and sees something that he needs. I help him with that. But he's been doing a great job, honestly, out there. He's been learning real fast, and he's definitely going to be a great addition to the secondary.
Linebacker out there.
Oh yeah, he's big boy, he's big, for sure.
You guys are up.
Zegura slinging mulligans.
I thought about it. I was like, maybe I should just clip this. Maybe I should just cut some clips, and then I'm like, nah, I'm all in. This will be an object of conversation.
He's slinging them in the background. 1 point golf's a tough game.
Well, they had at that point they were doing a drone golf ball drop.
Oh, okay. Were they?
So I'm watching. They're doing this right next to the practice, like they're doing the availability right next to the practice screen. Well, all the reporters aren't even paying attention to Greg. They've got their cameras out, they got their phones out, and they're taking video of this ball drop.
Sure. Fantastic. Absolutely.
Shout out to Granzier, by the way.
Yeah.
Good guy. Won the ball drop.
Oh, good. Good
like
for him.
A new, I think he got an Apple Watch or something. I don't know.
There you
Something
go.
nice.
All
There
right.
were so many nice little giveaways and whatnot.
What'd you
yesterday.
come away with? Did you get a nice gift bag?
You know what? I stopped and saw my guy Rocco Whalen, and the Fahrenheit food truck was out there.
Oh,
And
wow, that's
I got
nice.
I got half a cheesesteak to go.
Oh, there you go.
I didn't need the
That's a
full
win.
one. I just needed.
Does he do whiz on the cheesesteak, or was it provolone?
It is some kind of cheese sauce.
So he goes.
It is a gourmet.
Similar. Well, I'm sure it's done to the.
Oh my God!
Whatever level, but
I think it's its own food group. It's unbelievable.
It always blew my mind because and now I've never been to Philly, but anytime I hear anybody talk about Philly and a Philly cheesesteak, it's usually with the whiz.
I prefer the whiz.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's. I feel like I would. I've never had it there. I've never had it prepared that way. But anytime you get a Philly cheesesteak anywhere else, it's usually provolone on it, and that's a very different situation.
Sorry, I'm not interested.
So what are you doing? You packing around Cheese Whiz that you could put on it if you order one, or do you just do it at home that way?
What do you mean?
Like the Cheese Whiz, like because you don't get it that way. Like if you go to you go get a Philly cheesesteak around here, they don't have Cheese Whiz at places.
No.
So
No.
what do you do? How do you make sure you get the whiz on it, or do you just do that when you're in Philly? Have you had one in Philly?
Oh yeah, I've been to
you
the
have?
place where like the
Pat's
two
and Geno's
competitions
or whatever?
Yeah, right across the street. I went to the one place they were catcalling me. I'm like, look, I'm just here to beat you tomorrow in football.
Settle
and by the
down.
way, we did not.
We did not.
Just so we're clear.
All right. All right. The College Football 2023 Hall of Fame ballot is out. There's one thing that needs to be done here, and we'll get to that.
I love
coming
the
up.
airing of the grievances. I knew we'd get it.
We'll get to that coming up next. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Your business is shopping for an enterprise operating systems partner, but you don't know where to begin. Well, I've got the answers for you. Quite simply, my friends at EOX Vantage are for you. They are data scientists, also business operations experts. Your EOX Vantage team not only builds and installs your system, they act as your ongoing tech support. So you're hiring a continuous improvement and support system. EOX Vantage is not tied to any single brand or hardware or software. So you're getting a truly customized, purpose-built solution along with a partner that answers only to you. And EOX Vantage does not outsource. All the operational expertise, proprietary solutions, and tech support come from one unified partner. You can see how companies have profited from hiring one fully objective operating systems partner at EOXVantage.com. All right, so the reason we're discussing this College Football Hall of Fame is the finalist list for this year was out yesterday. You have to vote for 12. There's 80 guys on this list. 80 guys on
Seems a little extreme,
list.
by the way.
Here's the problem. And this is my problem with the College Football Hall of Fame. And I don't have a real easy solution to it, but this is where I am with it. The National Football Federation founded the Hall in 1951, so it's been around for a long time. But they did not always induct people in it. So there's a backlog of guys that is forever long. It's forever long. And so you're backed up trying to fill this thing out from forever. And the reality is that so many of these guys should have been in. And so because what they need to do is just put everybody in who should be in, one giant class, or go 5 years worth of giant classes to get back to zero, because there's no buzz for this thing unless you know somebody who's going into it, and in this case I do. So there's very little buzz for this thing, and you lose the juice of like a first-time ballot College Football Hall of Famer, because no one's a first-time ballot Hall of Famer. For example, Reggie Bush is not in the College Football Hall of Fame.
Maybe one of the greatest college
He
football
won
players.
the Heisman.
Not officially, not according to the NCAA.
He won the Heisman. By the way, the fact that the Heisman kowtowed to the NCAA is just laughable.
Yes.
The Heisman, that's just a joke. They should give that back to him and apologize for everything that they did. Kajana Carter is not a College Football Hall of Famer. In what world is Kajana Carter not a College Football Hall of Famer? Now, one of the criteria is a player must have at least been out of the game 10 years after his last college start. Kajana Carter last played he was on the 94 Penn State team. It's one of the best teams ever, that undefeated Penn State team in 94 that didn't get a shot at the national title. Reggie Bush last played in 2005. What are we waiting on? Warwick Dunn isn't? Tim Tebow isn't? Tim Tebow is not in.
Tim Tebow is college football.
He won a Heisman. He was a finalist 2 other times. He won 2 national titles in Florida. What are we doing? So my guy Laurinaitis is on it this time. Laurinaitis is a 3-time consensus first-team All-American. Go look at the list of guys that are that. About 4 people in the history of the sport. He last played at Ohio State in 2008. He's long overdue. But what are we doing? But because they have this incredible backlog, how can you pick 12 guys out of this 80?
I'm going through them right now. Peter Warwick, Florida State.
Right.
Was kind of a baller.
Peter Warwick, if he didn't get caught up in the free shoes deal, would have been it was Dillard's. If he wouldn't have got caught up in that, he would have won the Heisman that year that they were undefeated. No, I mean, there's just incredible names. Alex Smith is on this list. Here's one. How the heck is Dewey Selman not yet in the Hall of Fame? He played at Oklahoma from 72 to 75. Him and Leroy were unbelievable at Oklahoma. He's not in yet. What's taken so long? Simeon Rice at Illinois? Go ask Deke about Simeon Rice at Illinois and how dominant he was. Kevin Hardy was the other linebacker on that team. Paul Posluszny, Julius Peppers, Haloti Ngata. These are no-brainers. Kuechly. Kellen Moore was great at Boise State as the quarterback there. I don't know. Have you heard of Ray Lewis? Ray Lewis is not in the College Football Hall of Fame. He has gold jacket, but he's not in the College Football Hall of Fame. Here's the criteria. A player must have received major first-team All-American recognition. Everybody on here does, clearly. Like Tim Couch is a College Football Hall of Famer, clearly. Player becomes eligible 10 years after his last intercollegiate football game is played. Football achievements are scattered first, but post-football record as a citizen is also weighed.
Well,
my guy Ryan Leaf's on this list.
He is.
The nominee must have ended his professional athletic career prior to the time of induction, so you're waiting on retirements, but everybody we've mentioned has long been retired.
Isn't Tony Gonzalez in the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
Sure.
But he's not in the College
Well, that's what
Football Hall of Fame.
I just said that about Ray Lewis, too.
Yeah.
No, there's a couple of those on this. It's crazy. Ken Dorsey is a college football first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yes.
For sure. I mean, again, you're not going to get any better example than Tim Tebow and Reggie Bush. Like they are, and whatever they are to the offensive side of the ball, Laurinaitis is on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, it's just some of the biggest names, but the problem is they're trying to catch up. So instead of doing a 12-member group this year, do it over 2 days and do 25. Like they have to get caught up. They get too much of college football. Like there's not even a first ballot guy on here. Those have been guys who finished playing in 2000. Like Justin Blackman is on it.
By the way,
Michael James.
Here's an interesting, as I do the quick math here. Again, didn't go to college for it, so we'll see. 80 finalists, only 2 from Alabama. Antonio Langham, former Brown.
He was very good.
He was very good. And Chris Samuels, offensive tackle.
And he was very good, too. He was very good, too.
But
you got to remember, though, Bama
they were
off
not good.
The grid
yeah.
From like 93, 94 until Saban. That's why anytime I hear Buckeye people complain about anything, I'm like, settle down. You've been relevant since Woody.
Yeah.
Relevant since Woody. There's been long stretches, whether it's Texas, Alabama, USC, Florida State, Miami. You think of the other programs that have won a lot in the last 30 years, they've all had long stretches of irrelevancy. Ohio State has never had that.
No.
Never. Always relevant.
And blasphemy to anybody that says anything bad about Cooper.
Well, I think you have to understand. I mean, it sucks that he had the record he had against Michigan.
Yeah.
He has that's something, but also does not get enough credit for nationalizing that university.
Some of the most talented Ohio State teams to ever play.
He made Ohio State a national brand. He was in a recruiting standpoint, he understood that you couldn't just win with Ohioans at that point, that you had to go elsewhere for some others. Earl was very much a Ohioans. I'm going to be loyal, and we're going to have only Ohioans. And Coop was the first one that said, look, we can't win at all doing
Correct.
this. And it changed it. And it set it up for Tress, and Tress took it to another level, then Urban to another level. But, yeah, I think that's the problem here is they got a backlog of guys that they got to get in.
But how many people, like, I don't.
How would you even pick 12? I mean,
yeah.
like.
No, I know.
How the heck are you going to pick 12? Everybody on here is worthy.
Yep. It is. Who gets to vote, by the way?
Well, that's the other thing. So there's like 12,000 people who vote on this.
What are we doing?
What are we doing? So I have a Heisman vote, and that I think is even a little watered down with respect to the Heisman. Like there's 900 of us that vote for that.
There are some people, no names please, that shouldn't have votes.
Correct.
In this area.
I can't speak. I don't know who those people are, but one of the things is I've always thought, like, for me it was when I was an AP college football voter, I was like one of 60 in the country. Like that.
It was an important.
It was a really important gig, especially in those days when it factored into the BCS. But this, 12,000 people voting on this. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's like filling the lower bowl of the queue.
Right.
You're all going to get a vote to determine.
You get a
who
vote,
goes
and
in.
you get a vote. I don't even think is Laurinaitis the only Buckeye? No, Chris Ward, who was an offensive tackle from 74 to 77 on this list. Like Michael Stonebreaker at Notre Dame is on this list. He was a stud. Todd Light was a stud at Notre Dame. Stonebreaker played in 1990.
Alex Smith, quarterback at Utah, under Herb.
Not there. I don't know. So they got to get it all in. So that's my soapbox for the day. You need to do 5 years of 50-person classes to get it to where it needs to be. And
It's going to be a hell of a party.
Right, and then it can be – and anybody posthumous, get them all in now. Why wait, Still so much more to come. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. We talked a little bit about this Live Golf Tournament and the crazy money that's around it, and we were wondering if there would be any sort of pushback from the majors and the USGA saying no, there will not be. In fact, anybody who has previously qualified for the U.S. Open is eligible to play, including Phil Mickelson, Dustin Johnson. So they'll play this weekend in London, and then they'll be at the U.S. Open at Brookline.
It will be interesting to see, though, because don't you have to be at a certain ranking? Like, will those rankings carry over going forward to be able to qualify?
But for those guys, it would be exemptions. You know, anyone who has a major, you get exemptions for so long. So those guys would be like Sergio Price still has exemptions. Graham McDowell has won a U.S. Open. He would have exemptions.
Gotcha.
The rest of those guys are kind of either never was or has
1
been,
minute.
you know. So.
Fair.
Yeah. I still have not heard anything from the PGA Tour on this. Nothing.
They should just let it go.
I mean,
you're going to start
it's pretty wild. I mean, nothing. They've big threats, but are they going to wait till they play and then say, oh, yeah, now you're banned? It's wild. Wild time in that sport, to say the least.
OTA number 9
30.
tomorrow. We'll have
that's availability, right? Everybody being available.
Coverage.
So that'll be fun. We'll see how that goes tomorrow. You have that to look forward to, which is nice. You also have the next level to look forward to, which is nice. We are back tomorrow. Cleveland Browns Daily, 8:50 ESPN Cleveland.